Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at a brand new Danzig record that just came out on April 24th where he sings Elvis Presley songs. The whole album, 14 songs worth of covers of Elvis Presley songs. Now, this was quite a shock hearing this. It's definitely a different style than what we know from Danzig. I'm even surprised it's put out under the name Danzig and not just simply Glenn Danzig. But I'm going to turn it on and we're gonna have it in the background here and you'll understand what I'm talking about. And it's definitely got a crooning style to it, but before we can really understand that, I want to give you guys a little bit of background for those of you who might not be as familiar with Danzig's works. So he was the founder of the horror punk band The Misfits, a punk band from 77 to 83. And following that, he was the founder of the death rock heavy metal band Samhain from 83 until 1990. Now, tired of all the fluctuating members and lineups, things like that, and having to form new bands every time the band would demise itself, he decided to call his next project Danzig, using his own name. And so in 1988, he formed the band Danzig, and they've been going strong from 1988 all the way till present, and that's what this is released under, Danzig, and it does have the band members as part of this. Now, the best-selling album of Danzig's career is his debut album, or their debut, because it's the band, and it has gone platinum, selling 1 million copies. And the biggest hit off of here, Mother, is another reason why this is probably done as well as it has. But that song, Mother, that everybody knows off of the radio is not the version that's from the debut. It's actually off of the 1993 EP, Thrall, Demon Sweat Live. And there's a couple of reasons why I mention this. It had 3 studio tracks and 4 live tracks on it. Track number 3, Trouble, is a cover of an Elvis song on here. And on this EP here, it very much is in the style of Danzig as opposed to what we're hearing here. You can hear the crooning that he's doing. It's just very different than what you would expect. Very Frank Sinatra, if you will. So we've got that going on, and as I said, if you want some context, listen to the EP here, track number 3, Trouble, to hear what this album could have sounded like if he did the songs in a Danzig style. Also of note on here, as I was mentioning that song on the radio, Mother, it's actually not the last track on here, which is a live track that's called Mother. It's track number 93. You've got to wait through a whole bunch of dead air on this to get to number 93, and it's actually a studio recording with live background crowd noise added to it to sound like it's live, and that one was called Mother 93, and that was the video and the one on the radio and so forth. I don't even know if that's still on these albums anymore, and I don't know if it's on the ones that you can stream, but that one on your radio and the one everybody knows was actually the 93rd track on that EP. All right, following that EP, which was from 1993 and 1994, they put out Danzig 4. But following that album, the band was dismissed or quit, and Danzig has ever since then had a revolving door of members in the lineup. But his current right-hand man and lead guitar player is none other than Tommy Victor from Prong, which I've always thought was a really good fit for Danzig. I've always liked Prong and their music. If you don't know who they are and you're a metalhead, do check out the band Prong. Prove You Wrong. Really great song. So Tommy Victor's been with them since 1996. He's also the guitar player that's on this record, so it leads us right up to here. So as I said, this is 14 tracks, and to be clear, we've already heard it is not a Danzig sounding record. It's definitely Elvis songs done Elvis style, but done by the band Danzig. And as I mentioned, if you want to hear for context, do check out that song Trouble off of Thrall, Demon Sweat Live EP by the band Danzig, to hear a rocked up heavy metal version of an Elvis classic versus the crooning style that's going on for this one here. And so, yeah, this album was a big shock when I first heard it. I really was expecting it to be dark, to be eerie, not to be crooning. Um, and in my opinion, it's not a Danzig album. Like I said, I think this probably should have been released as under his name, Glenn Danzig. If you don't know, Glenn Danzig has also released 2 albums of classical music. And he did those under his own name. So I kind of feel like this should have been that, but that's up to him, of course. It's his band, and that's why he created it under his name, so he could do what he wants with it. Now, there's a statement inside the album. Let me show you the front cover of this and the back cover. I have to say the album packaging is done really well. It is done like a vinyl packaging, and where the CD comes out there just like in the vinyl. And there's this little write-up here, and I just want to read you a little bit of it for context. So it says in here, when I was a kid thumbing through albums at the record store, I would always see artists devote whole albums to their favorite songwriters or artists. So-and-so sings, so-and-so tribute to. Later, I stopped seeing these kind of records. And so that's what this is for Danzig. Danzig has gone back to his youth when he used to find these albums. He loved these kind of albums, and he's made one himself. And in understanding that context of it and why he's made it, and why he made it sound this way in the traditional sense of these songs as opposed to rocking them up in Danzig-fied style, makes it more understandable and better, and I can appreciate it at least in that regard. So the first 4 tracks off this thing are straight crooners. It's not until track number 5, Baby Let's Play House, that this thing really kind of rocks in a more rockabilly type style. Track number 8 is cool. It's the song Fever. It's done more in a goth style, kind of more what I would have expected the album to be. Track number 10, Always on My Mind. That is the classic that we know by Willie Nelson. It was originally an Elvis Presley song. Of course, it's great to hear Glenn do this really classic track. It's probably the most famous one on here next to the song Fever. And track number 13, called Girl of My Best Friend. Leave it to song number 13, the song, 13 being what it is, to be the best one on the album. But it's very well done in my opinion, and I like it. It's a little cross between the crooning style he's been doing and a little bit more of a rock style, and I did very much appreciate that. So again, let me show you the front. I'll show you the spine, and like I said, it's done like a vinyl gatefold, which is really cool. And then it does have a sleeve. It is just a black sleeve, and there's a little insert in here for his movie. If you didn't know, he did a movie called Veronica based on the comic that he also does. So Glenn's got his hands on a lot of different things. Bottom line, I've sort of got mixed feelings about this album. It's cool, that he made it, and I appreciated his Elvis material. But considering how long it took him to make this album, it's been 3 years since his last studio release that came out in 2017. I much would have rather gotten a whole new album of studio songs that he wrote in the Danzig style. Hopefully this is just something that's tiding us over. Maybe in 6 months we'll get something new. Who knows? If we got to wait another 2 to 3 years for a new release, meaning that there might be 4 to 6 years between hearing something that sounds in the Danzig style, this release will feel more disappointing to me than it currently does right now. Unfortunately, I will probably never listen to this album again. It's going to go into my collection. That's why I did buy it. It'll be more of a unique curiosity kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'll play it for my mom as an Elvis record, and she won't know she's listening to Danzig. That could be kind of fun. In all actuality, my mom's pretty wonderful. She's always supported my interest in music, and going way back to when I was a kid, taking me to record stores and going out of her way, even taking me to midnight release parties for getting brand new albums. Went to a Megadeth release party at midnight that she took me to and waited in the car. So my mom's pretty great like that, and we should all just thank my mom essentially, because without her, none of this that I'm doing right now would be happening probably. So in closing, Danzig did a tribute to Elvis. This is the album here. I just did a tribute to my mom, so there you go. Hi, Mom. All right, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope everyone has a great day.